One thing I've noticed since Israel started attacking Gaza is that the Palestinian issue has become yet another lever to divide the working class. This is why hot-button issues are so important to maintaining the status quo. The most contentious political issues are deployed against us purposefully. Going back to Sun Tzu, it's almost literally the oldest trick in the book. Sun Tzu, if he was an actual human person and not a literary creation, is said to have lived around 500 BCE in what is now China. His Art of War is still widely read, so you can see for yourself what he says about the principle of 2U when describing offensive strategies. You may know this principle by another name, divide and conquer. When the general possesses greater numbers, Sun Tzu says, use a distracting force to divide your enemy's army. Of course, the American public far outnumbers the wealthy few who control the political class. But that doesn't stop this tactic from working again and again. The American public is not treated with respect. We are whipped into a lather over abortion and gun rights and transgender rights and immigration, and the list goes on and on. We are intentionally divided in order to distract us from the things that we have in common. Stagnant wages, massive debt, decaying roads and infrastructure, underfunded schools. The list is way too long to count. We are encouraged to believe that the social agendas of the Democrats and Republicans are the only political arguments worth having. We are encouraged by the media to invest ourselves in these fights. We are encouraged to participate in a your side, my side mentality that keeps us from seeing how much we have in common with one another. A poor African American woman living in a city, a poor rural white laborer, a stressed out Latino single parent in the suburbs, a struggling adjunct professor, you name it. The people who feel most politically alienated from each other share many of the same problems. We are the working class, and our economic concerns are completely ignored by the two-party system. The major parties need wedge issues to set themselves apart from one another. Both need separate identities in order to sell the two-party concept to voters. It is a marketing trick. For the marketing to work, it's necessary to have competing ideologies. The parties need things to fight about to cover up their agreement on economic issues. Therefore, abortion and gun control and immigration are necessary for the major parties to set themselves apart from one another. Having endless culture war battles keep the working class distracted from all the crucial economic concerns that the major parties completely agree about. Wedge issues exist to muddy the waters and keep us from addressing or even identifying larger issues. Writer and independent political organizer Jacqueline Salit told CNN, "The parties are trying to change the subject from the things they think they can inflame voters on and win elections on. How does that help the country? That hurts the country." The raison d'etre of wedge issues is to distract and inflame. If you and I are screaming at each other about abortion or Palestine, we are not a threat to the economic power structure. If you and I hate each other because we disagree about trans rights, we probably aren't going to join together to form a union in our workplace. Notice how little our most potent culture war issues have to do with economic concerns. Abortion, gay rights, and gun control exist far outside the economic spectrum. This is intentional. As long as we're screaming at each other over these wedge issues, we are too divided to notice the things that the political parties do agree about. We are also too divided to notice the glaring problems that should unify us. That's the whole point. Of course, the war on Gaza does not conform to the traditional two-party dynamic. In this case, it's not Democrats versus Republicans, because both major parties support Israel with unquestioning devotion. However, the divisiveness of this subject still has huge value to the ruling class, especially because the division is mostly happening on the left. The more you can encourage the working class or the left to rip itself apart with purity tests and purges and denunciations, the better, at least from the perspective of the American ruling class. This is a potent and divisive subject, and the ruling class loves to divide and conquer. Keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. Please give a like, follow, favorite, and subscribe to my free Substack, where you can get lots more detail in every post. Let's make them pay.